What's good, my people? It's your boy 336 Money back at it again with another episode of the 336 podcast. I'm here today to tell you that I am ahead, not up to date. Yes, that means I am from the future. Your today is just my yesterday. Spoiler alert. Ain't shit changed. What's up, everybody? Hope y'all having a great day. Again, you are now tuning into the 336 podcast, which airs every Sunday and Wednesday. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel here so you do not miss any of our segments and upcoming episodes. Today, we talk about a 20-year-old black father who was killed in April of last year due to a traffic stop in which he was pulled over because he had expired tags and an illegal air freshener hanging from his rear view mirror. At that moment, getting pulled over for those reasons and those things, Mr. Wright did not know that that would be the last moments of his young life. And neither did his girlfriend or his child, who were in the car with him at the time of this shooting. When we look into this situation, we have to paint a certain picture. So I'll take you from the beginning. Officers pulled him over again for the expired tags and the illegal air freshener in Minnesota, which I don't understand why that's illegal. Again, these things are just used to attack minority communities. I've just never seen a white person with an air freshener in their car. I'm sorry. I've just never seen it. However, we get back to the topic at hand. This was just a routine traffic stop, apparently, and it ended up, as police do, they are looking for reasons to stop so that they can search and see who is the person behind the wheel and who are these people in this car, in which they found out Mr. Wright had a outstanding warrant for his arrest. So he had a weapons charge. It was a misdemeanor, what is called a gross misdemeanor, which is one of the highest levels of misdemeanor that you can have. Again, because it was a weapons charge, he may have gotten a little bit of jail time, maybe a year, or, $3,000 to $5,000 fine for this type of charge. But instead, he got sentenced right there on the spot at the scene with execution. Now, at first, Mr. Wright was cooperating with police where he got out the vehicle. He turned around. He put his hands behind his back. The officer was attempting to apprehend him and put him in cuffs, whereas it seemed to be an issue with the cuffs or something. And Mr. Wright, he just decided that this is my time. This is my chance. I'm going to try to dash. And he got back into his vehicle, and the officer struggled with him for a bit of time to where it seemed like they could not just get him out the car. At this point, Mrs. Potter, fearing for her life, pulling over a 20-year-old black man who has an outstanding warrant for a weapons charge. Fearing for her life, she reaches for what she says she thought was a taser. Now, the weight difference between a taser and a fully loaded weapon has to be huge. The feel of it in your hand, the trigger in your hand, which side of your body that it's on, because we do know that these uniforms come equipped with different belts, utility belts, and different holsters to where this goes for this holster fits this type of weapon, and this holster will fit this. So she's in the moment of this situation, and she lost it. She fumbled the ball. She lost control. She lost sense and all awareness. She grabbed her weapon. They wrestled with Mr. Wright in the car as his girlfriend sits in the passenger seat at this point on the phone with his mother, because they already have the stigma that when you get pulled over by police, it needs to be recorded, or there needs to be someone on the phone with you who can be a witness to what's about to happen. That's a fear. That's a real thing that minorities live with. Do you do that when you get pulled over by the police? That's something they don't teach you in school because you don't need it. That's something we're getting taught on the streets in our neighborhoods. This is how you handle these situations. She yells out, "I'm gonna tase you." Taser, taser, taser before she shoots Mr. Wright. The officers then back up. He tries to pull off, which he later crashes down the street because he's shot in his chest. His girlfriend frantically on the phone with his mother. They just shot him, where he later pronounced dead at the scene. And now we have to ask ourselves, was his death a reasonable death? Was there probable cause to shoot this man? This is all happening right there in Minnesota, man. We got to get something got to go down in Minnesota. We got to figure out what's going on out there. Why don't Minnesota police like black people? We got to ask ourselves these questions. Was she wrong for attempting to shoot Mr. Wright? And my answer to that question is going to be a solid no. She was not wrong for trying to shoot Mr. Wright. Why? Because Mr. Wright is a young black man who is riding around Minnesota with blatant illegal things, with the air freshener hanging down so everybody can see it, and the tags that are expired. He's just riding around like everything's cool in Minnesota. And he is out on a warrant for a weapons charge. This man is known to have a weapon. Now, why do people have warrants? Usually when they don't show up for court, are they a murder suspect? But he's not a suspect in anything. Again, this was just a misdemeanor charge. So he probably avoiding the already law system, knowing that when he gets pulled over, that they're going to find out this warrant and he's going to go to prison. These are things that he's knowing at this time of getting pulled over. So yes, she had every right to shoot Mr. Wright. Now, did she have a right to kill him and shoot him with a fully loaded firearm? No, she didn't. Did she have a right to get so caught up that she forgets where her taser is, what a taser feels like, how to properly use a taser? No, she doesn't have that right. That's one that was taken away from Mr. Wright, though. That's an excuse. That's a mistake. That's not just gonna, we can't just skip over that. We can't redo that. We can't apologize for that because Mr. Wright's gone and nothing's gonna change that for his family. She did have every right to pull out a weapon to try to detain and de-escalate the situation, but it should never have been a firearm. And when you get paid and this is your job, you get paid to know the difference. You get paid to be aware. You get paid to make the appropriate decision. You get paid to do the thing that the average American couldn't do in that situation. If I had an issue with someone just like the state has an issue with Mr. Wright and they're known for having weapons and they try to jump in their car on me, I'm going to shoot them too. I'm going to shoot them too. And if you wouldn't, then we can talk about another thing, but I'm going to shoot them too because I'm going to protect myself. They're known to have a weapon. They're getting in the vehicle. I'm going to shoot them too. But I'm not paid to de-escalate. I'm just a regular citizen licensed to carry. I'm not paid to de-escalate. I'm not paid to apprehend. I'm not paid to serve justice. I'm not paid to protect. I'm just defending myself at that point. And police get paid to know the difference. Our tax-paying dollars are offered to them to know the difference. And in this case, she didn't know the difference. Again, she'll be sentenced to 2 years, $1,000 fine, because that's all a black man's life is worth, and charged with manslaughter. Now, the crazy thing about it is the sentencing. I don't agree with the sentencing. She has 2 years. She'll get time served. So we're looking at, 24 months. She already has served 2 months. And because of her record, she can get out 2/3 time served, which means about 16 months. And the judge say they just didn't see any aggravating thing to give a more lengthier sentence, which usually this type of crime of manslaughter carries 6 to 8.5 years. So yeah, there's an issue with the sentencing. There's an issue with the judicial system, but it's going to be hard to beat a jury when you're resisting arrest, you're showing complete negligence, and you have a history of violent crime or being a person who may be at risk for committing a violent crime, such as having illegal firearms and ditching court. I don't agree with the sentencing, but I agree with the idea. I don't agree with the action, but I agree with the idea of what Miss Potter was supposed to do. I can never forgive her for killing that man, but if I was her, I would have done the same. Kanye West, one of the greatest artists that we have had in our generation, one of the most successful. He's taking a different route. He's changing music. He is doing something right now that is embellishing, visionary all over, which is what he sees himself as, a visionary, a prophet, a creator, somebody who is going against the grain. And I love it. I love every bit of what Kanye is doing. Kanye recently announced that he will be dropping his album, Donda 2. Donda 2 will drop just a few months after the success of Donda 1. So he turned down $100 million deal with Apple to host this album. Now, when you're a billionaire, you understand business. You have to, because you've got yourself into a situation where you can successfully make money. Anybody with money or that understands business knows that if they're offering me $100 million, I gotta be worth $1 billion at least. I gotta be worth $500 million at least. And that's what Kanye's doing. He's taking matters into his own hands right now. How are we gonna get the album? Well, Kanye has what's called a stem player. This stem player is like a little portable player. Now, this stem player will cost $200, and it'll be the only way, as we know of right now, that you can listen to Donda 2. And a lot of people say $200? That's for an album? Well, you're also getting this little cool player. We don't want to like that. That is the big part. But this is the only way you'll be able to listen to Donda 2. A lot of people say, we won't pay $200 for an album. What you have to look at is Kanye already has people paying over $200 for merchandise. Yeezy dropped some jackets with Gap last year and made $7 million in 24 hours. These jackets were like $200 too. So what he's doing hasn't been done with music, but he's already doing in other avenues like fashion and tech. And this has been done before. A guy named Nipsey Hussle, man, R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle in 2013 sold $100 albums and sold 1,000 copies and sold out in 24 hours. Now, Nipsey's a great artist. He's a great talent. A lot of love and respect for him, especially where he's from on the West Coast. But Kanye, we have to say that he's a much bigger artist on a much bigger platform, and he's been able to do a lot more. Well, if Nipsey sold 1,000 copies in 24 hours for 100, how many do you think Kanye West will sell for 200? Kanye West boasts about 79 million followers on Spotify monthly. If just 5% of his people, like everybody else, like, nah, man, I ain't paying for that. If just 5% of those people buy it, Kanye will make $500 million, $480 million. This is unheard of what he's doing. He's going to make so much money off this album. I'm ready to see these numbers. I'm interested to see. Comment, let me know, are you going to buy Donda 2? Are you going to pay that $200? Yeah, jeen-yuhs out right now. His special with Netflix, number one on Netflix. So yeah, number one on Netflix. You're dropping the album, $200. Everybody blah. You're going through all this stuff with Kim. He has enough attention to reach the masses right now to see as many people that will buy it. They will buy it, and they are going to buy it. So we'll see how that plays out, how that happens. But I wanted to let you guys know that this is big. This is major. This is not crazy what he's doing. It's been done and mimicked in different ways before. And I think he's going to be very, very successful with it. That's all we have time for today, man. This is another episode of the 336 podcast. Again, we're airing here every Sunday and Wednesday. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and comment below so you don't miss anything that we got coming up in the future. Again, it's your boy 336, man. Y'all stay sucker free. Zip.